Alright guys, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be Tzeentch led by ghouls facing off against the Warriors of Chaos, who shall be helmed by Fate Zero here on Chateau de Roquefort. And yes, your eyes do not deceive you. It is going to be a Blue Scribes bounty attempt. So if Ghouls is able to win this was the semifinal of a recent tournament. If he does win it, he will be getting the unique Blue Scribes icon on Total Tavern. Now, as far as the build goes for old Tzeentch, frontline is going to be very skirmish heavy, so a lot of Marauder Horsemen, and the Tzeentchian ones are pretty damn good. And the reason being is they can get in, they can skirmish with enemy cavalry or enemy range units, they can poke. Sure, they might take a little bit of damage, but it's probably going to be on their shields, at which point they can run back, they can regenerate. It's one of the reasons why Tzeentch is so strong in land battle. Their skirmish game is incredibly good, and it's good in domination as well, so we'll see what they do here. So going to be 4 of those. In the backfield, it is going to be a very cheap infantry corps. Normally, you'd probably be seeing some Chaos Warriors or Zangors, but considering the Blue Scribes cost like over 2,000 gold, which is just obscenely overpriced, they should probably cost like 800 gold less, straight up. They're just obscenely overpriced. You're going to have a low quality front line as a result. Kairos is going to be the Lord, makes sense. You're going to want to go with your big boy Kairos here. And why are we seeing, oh my god, Kairos didn't even bring the regrowth. I thought he would bring that for the Mutalith Beast, but no, it's just combat Kairos. Okay, he's probably really cheap. That is a really interesting one. I was like looking, I was like, is there a bug? Is there something wrong with the tooltip? But no, that's not the case. Blue Scribes, obviously, if you guys haven't seen them in action, they have a really mediocre shooting attack. But on top of that, they also do have random spells. And every single time you cast a spell, you get a random one. It's really fun to use, for sure, but their cost is like a massive penalty. Now, for the Chaos player, frontline is going to be mostly warrior-centric. So using his Marks of Khorne to get some Chaos Warriors of Khorne. So we have 1, 2, 3 Khornate marks in this army. Very interesting. That's super off meta with Chaos Warriors moving up as well. And the caster is going to be a Firecaster, which normally wouldn't be like the best against like Zangors and Warriors, but against his demon-focused army with Skirmishers, it actually could be considerably good. So we'll see what Fate Zero does here in this glorious fight to come. So Chaos moving up on the point. Going to be getting their warriors, and yeah, it's a very heavy metal army. These are basic Chaos Warriors, which I think are really, really good. I like them at 750 quite a bit. The March Warriors, like the dual weapon warriors, probably could use a bit of a cost reduction, but I mean, if they do get in combat, they do their job well. 60 weapon strength is no joke. Look at the Tzeentchian focus fire. That is a lot. A lot of blue fires, some javelins coming in. The Warflame will lower their armor as well, and Kairos is going to be flying in from the back, and what we're here for, screw everything else in the battlefield. We just want to see what spells the Blue Scribes are going to be casting. So Blue Horrors of Tzeentch engaged in the front versus Chaos Warriors, and they're taking a little bit of DACA, but for the most part, the high armor values of the Chaos Warriors of Khorne, despite the lack of shields, is able to hold and get the job done. And where, oh where, is the first Blue Scribe spell? Okay, here it is, baby. What's it going to be? Sign me up. It's a Searing Doom. All right. So we get a metal spell, so it's going to be Searing Doom for the Blue Scribes. Honestly, could have been a little bit worse. Now, as far as the other objectives go, Warriors of Chaos sitting on the far side point with some Zangors of their own. That is going to be their 4th mark. It is the Tzeentch mark. And more Chaos Warriors here in the middle. And so far, the Warriors of Chaos look like they're going to be getting a foothold initially. But this is where the fight can turn massively in the favor of Tzeentch, is because of the Mutalith Vortex Beast. Anti-large obviously will deal with any large threats, but it has Mortis Engine too. It's definitely a weirdly designed unit in that it's pretty much good against everything, doesn't really have any weaknesses. It has high armor as well, or high-ish armor, so it's pretty resilient against range fire, light range fire to an extent. It's just an absolute raid boss, and Tzeentch does have access to healing with Kairos, which is the very, very meta way of seeing this matchup being played here. So Muty Beast is going to be draining, and yeah, this is like huge value for him. He's just going to be tearing through these Chaos Warriors, and the Chaos player really needs to get either Valkia working on this thing, or maybe get some Javelin focus fire on it. And there's going to be a response of a Burning Head going down. Pretty good Burning Head. It probably will eviscerate these blues. They're going to probably disintegrate here at -18. And when demons do start to go unstable, they take a hell of a lot of damage. So Warriors of Chaos holding onto the side point well. And hey, it looks like a Traitorkin going down from Blue Scribes, which is a very, very good spell. Nice AoE damage. Manages to hit all 3 units here, including these freshly summoned or arrived Zangors. And Kairos going to be jumping in with his old Pimp-Cane, trying to drag down some of those warriors. Now, looking at the other side of the battlefield, Warriors of Chaos with Zangors on 3, holding comfortably. Middle objective being held by Chaos Warriors, but a little bit of a threat now. We got Zangors coming up, and Chaos doesn't really have too many infantry here. Granted, it does look like Fate is able to get some Chaos Warhounds on top of some Tzeentch Skirmishers, chases them back, but Valkia really needs to be dealing with that Mutalith Beast. The longer that this thing is able to just do its business, it's probably already accrued about 700 or 800 value is going to be my guess here as we zoom in and take a look at the Beast stats. Yep, 700 value on the dot. Still got it, baby. And yeah, it's going to be draining down these very expensive units. I mean, Chaos Warriors of Khorne are like, I think, around 1,000 gold, so it is not a cheap one. And if this continues like this, Tzeentch is probably going to be able to methodically move through and start sweeping the Chaos objectives with that Mutalith Beast. There needs to be an answer. So Valkia is going to come in. She has to be careful, though. If she does get 2v1 by the Muti Beast as well as Kairos, it could be a little bit scary. And that's a nice burning head right there. Really good cast by Fate Zero. Does go through a lot of the Tzeentch horsemen, and unfortunately for them, they keep riding through it. So it's going to keep doing damage to them as they try and flee the scene there. But we'll see if any of them make it away. It looks like some of them do manage to survive it. Kairos going and breaking those warriors, and this objective is going to be going to Tzeentch. I know that Ghouls has been trying for this bounty for a long time. I think this is like the 3rd or 4th attempt I've gotten, so we'll see how this goes. But it is going to be the Zangors here. So Disoriented going down, and that's a nice debuff coming in. Man, this Mutalith Beast really should cost like 2,300 gold. The fact that it's like cheaper than Rogue Idol, which is just awful, is truly saying something. Even still, more descensioning down those units. Objective 1 does go to Tzeentch. Over here towards Objective 2, we do see a Tzeentch starting to flip this one as well. The Zangor is going to be wrestling that point. Blues coming up, Marauders, and more Zangor. So swarming over the battlefield is the Tzeentchian hordes. Currently looking at Phase 0. He is up on value by about 1,000, but Tzeentch does have regenerating shield. So like all the value you got on Kairos here, what little value you got on the Mutalith Beast, and a multitude of their units across the battlefield, including their skirmishers, is going to be regenerated with shields. So blue scribes flying about cackling, and they are considered a large entity, so Valkia could catch them. Obviously, she could do some work, but the blue scribes on their surfboard of Tzeentch, dude, look at that, they got the moves. They are faster than her, so they're going to be able to kite her pretty much indefinitely, depending on the micro, maybe get caught once or twice with an attack, but really not an effective way for Valkia to be spending her time. Could probably be better used, maybe, you know, just cycle charging the Mutalith Beast anytime it's not supported. If she had focused it, you know, there's no healing from Kairos, which is usually the meta for the beast, which makes it so hard to deal with. But in this case, it doesn't have any healing. So if Valkia were able to jump on the Mutalith Beast, for example, she would be able to really butter its bread pretty hard. Middle objective has flipped to the forces of Tzeentch, but good burning heads here from the Chaos player this game. And the burning head going to be cutting through those units with relative effectiveness. On the far side, Chaos still holding it down with Zangors, and they do seem to call in Chaos Knights, which is a really risky pick against Tzeentch for a couple of reasons. The main reason, though, the really one will illustrate, is that Screamers are super good against them. Screamers can land on them and just uptrade super hard. The Mutalith Beast is pretty much an auto-take in this matchup for Tzeentch, so you're going to be fighting a big anti-large monster. And overall, it's got to feel pretty bad for these Chaos Knights. I mean, they might be able to beat these Screamers if they are the sword and board variant, which they are, but they're going to be taking a massive amount of anti-large damage in the process, which is certainly not fun for anybody. So on the backside, it looks like Warriors of Chaos making an attempt at Objective 1. Don't think they're going to get it. We got some fresh Zangors right here, and we do also have Blues who are going to be able to hold them down for a second while these Zangors get in position. Middle point looking very, very comfortable for Tzeentch, so this is probably going to be the beginning of a comeback here for the forces of the Changer, as the Warriors of Chaos, had some decent objective momentum in the beginning, but the misplays with Valkia in tandem with the Chaos Knight call-in is going to lose them a massive amount of momentum. I mean, this 1,500 gold unit is just going to be perpetually running from these Screamers. It might just want to turn and fight them with Valkia's support, maybe just get the kill on those. Calling in the Warhounds to attack Screamers is actually a really, really good play. But we'll see if the Chaos Knights are going to be able to make a difference. Overall, some tough engagements here. So in the middle, Muti Beast grinding it out. Forsaken of Chaos have been called in, but they're just simply going to be Mortis Engine by this big Hell Beast, which is pretty much good at everything. Very, very cool animations for sure. But the Forsaken here are disoriented. Stats going to be tanking, and now we do see Tzeentch creeping the value. It's pretty much staying even, but yeah, with that shield healing, that's certainly a big variable. And Kairos going for a gooning attempt on the Chaos Sorcerer, not bad. Again, he's an okay fighter, not as good as the other Lords of Change. You know, he's got the blindness stuff in terms of his lore, which tries to justify him not being as good as the other Lords of Change. But even still, he's still a respectable fighter, especially against caster tier characters who aren't terribly resilient or strong in the first place. Although Chaos casters, to be fair, do have really high armor and decent combat stats compared to casters on other factions. So Tzeentch is taking the middle point. Over on the far side, we do see more Chaos Knights being called in. I have to say, I do love this. Chaos Knights are like my power fantasy unit. They're like the unit that, it's always my downfall. Sometimes Chaos Knights can be very good. There are matchups and situations in which they're incredibly powerful, but against Tzeentch, it's pretty risky, although they do get to the objective and do bully down these Zangors pretty well. And yeah, they'll be great against like Zangors and Chaos Warrior units. Granted, their AP is a little bit lackluster, but they're high. They're like kind of like Mounted Chosen in a way. 52 melee defense, 120 armor is going to make them super resilient, and Chaos might actually find a way to flip this objective back with some Forsaken arriving. So good late game scrapping here from Fate Zero, keeping the game close. It was kind of looking like it was going to be a little bit rough for him, but then he found a good engagement here on the side, sweeps the objective, and Valkia is now hunting Kairos and accruing a fair amount of value on the big chicken. If he goes down, obviously leadership penalty here, but the Mutalith Beast is going to be rolling back towards the other objective. The middle pretty firmly controlled by the Changer's forces. We have 2 Zangors here. Chaos Warrior Halberds coming out. I do like that. It's going to mitigate the effectiveness of the Chaos Knights pretty heavily. And Chaos Warrior Halberds of Tzeentch are actually fight okay against basic Chaos Warriors and Forsaken. The fact that they have AP will give them good advantages. Oh, okay. The Tide Call coming in. I almost forgot about the Blue Scribes. We have the dreaded Lore of the Deep spell coming out. So the Crabs have been summoned here, and they're going to be fighting with the Mutalith Beast and chasing down all these Chaos Knights. Very, very interesting stuff as we see the Hordes of Chaos retreating from this engagement, pushed back, and they still have the objective, though. There's no capture way here. Looks like, oh, some Tzeentch Chaos Knights coming in now. All right, we're going to get the Chaos Knight duel. I think it's like 3 Chaos Knights we've seen in this game. Pretty rad. On the middle, Chaos duking it out. We got the Chaos Knights that had been running from the Zangors all day. They are now back in business and ready to get some value. They're at 300 right now and lost about half health, but certainly will have a chance to reaccrue their value. But if they do get saturated in with these Chaos Knight Halberds here, they're going to be having a really, really bad time. These Halberds are going to be dragging down these big armored boys all day, every day, 7 days a week. So Warriors of Chaos do have that double cap, man. They're going to be encroaching in on 1,000 points here on the far side. Leaving a Zangor here is probably the right play. You could rush it over to the middle, but I think just making sure your opponent doesn't have an easy ninja on Objective 3 is probably prudent. And looking over here, it looks like Tzeentch was able to get the Rotting Prometheans and the Mutalith Beast, a combination you would only ever see in team games, but is here thanks to the Blue Scribes, dragging down these Warriors of Chaos Infantry. And now the Chaos Knights, as well as the Marauder Horsemen, going to be moving back towards Objective 1. Probably should be able to get that objective pretty easily. We have double Zangors coming out for the Warriors of Chaos, which, yeah, so the double Zangors are marks of Tzeentch, right? And does Valkia count as a mark of Khorne in the Warriors of Chaos roster? Because I saw 2 of the Khornate Warriors, if I'm not mistaken, earlier. So that would be too many marks, although I'll have to take a look afterwards. But technically, you know, that would have been a... The Zangors are currently bugged. They don't have a unit cap, so it's a little bit weird, but yeah, I don't know. We'll check it out after the game and see. So back here, we do get the big chicken. Oh, wow, and he actually gets caught and killed. So Valkia and Chaos Knights with their big mass. Chaos Knights do have a ton of mass. 1,200 on each individual model. It's pretty insane. And it looks like the chicken is going to get cooked here. Oh my god, a Troll Gut's coming down from the Blue Scribes. So Blue Scribes parked over and got one of the best single target heals in the entire game on Kairos here. Mutalith Beast, a little bit of a lapse in micro. He needs to move in and attack. Screamer's coming out of reserve. And wow, talk about the Blue Scribes coming in clutch here. Maybe keeping Kairos alive. The Troll Guts is a big heal. It has another 17 seconds. You can see it's a big one. And it, obviously we don't see it too often because Ogres are pretty much banned from most tournaments due to the fact that they're heavily bugged and imbalanced. Now, Chaos Warriors with Halberds are going to be able to drag down these Knights. If Chaos had been able to get Kairos there, that leadership penalty might have been enough to turn the tide of a lot of battles. But the dreaded Ogre, the Lore of the Great Maw coming out of the Blue Scribes, able to get it done. And here the Chaos Knights really committed to that dive. Tzeentch has now pretty much equalized the value, farming these 2 Chaos Knight units. And that's going to be really, really hard to come back from. Kairos actually fully escapes, which is really unfortunate. It could be unsummoned now, and there is going to be a Jade Shield going down from the Blue Scribes. It's so fun seeing them in action. I really would like them to be like cost reduced so we could see them being used and, you know, actually not be like a huge, you know, financial dump. Now the Burning Head going down from Chaos, not really going to do much. It doesn't do that great against armor. It's very good against light. Sure, it applies a leadership debuff against heavy armor, but aside from that, probably not going to be too great. So Tzeentch will most likely hold on to this point. A fully healthy unit of Zangors, some healthy Chaos Knights of Tzeentch should be able to mitigate these Chaos Warriors for a long time, and some Horsemen will provide 4 capture weight. Meanwhile, the middle objective looking firmly controlled by Tzeentch, and Valkia somehow catches this big chicken. It looks like a lapse in micro from Ghouls, and Kairos is inevitably going to, not inevitably, but is going to go down right now. And so that chicken does fall. Tzeentch army penalty, and the Tzeentch army ability going down as well. Gets a little bit of topical damage against the Zangors, does hit these Chaos Warriors on the other side as they do swarm onto the objective. Chaos is up. Is it a triple cap situation? It's going to be really, really close actually, but I do think there is going to be some Tzeentchian pressure on the far side here. Yes, we have 2 blues. So 2 blues will be able to take down a Zangor with the Screamer support. So the Screamers rear charge them, and the blues can just DACA them down and swarm them with 10 capture weight. And Zangors are actually really good at killing demons. The fact that they do magic damage and have good DPS really makes them an anti-demon unit. But I think the 2 blue scribes, or the 2 blue horrors, if they team up, will be able to take down the Zangors with their cool-looking models there. Zangor's coming from the other side, pretty much going to guarantee objective 3 is going to be flipping to Tzeentch. So now Ghouls basically just needs to find a way to hold on to this point. And look no further than your cure-all here. The WD-40 of Tzeentch and Chaos is going to be the Mutalith Beast. Hey, you got a problem? Well, they'll deal with pretty much everything except Elvish Kiting. Certainly don't like probably the Elf matchups. And matchups with a lot of shooting, the Mutalith Beast isn't as good. But the fact that Kairos has regrowth makes him, pretty much good in most situations. So the drain's going down here. I think that probably is going to be it. The Warriors of Chaos looking really, really tired right now. We got Chaos Warriors with dual weapons coming up and dual weapons of Khorne coming up here as well. Halberd should be able to fight them off long enough to, get enough of a points lead, and it looks like this objective is going to be flipping as the Zangors keep chasing here, and the other Zangors are going to be rear charging. We got Zangors on Zangors. On the backside, is that going to be Ea Cold? For a second, it looked like it, but nope. We got Horsemen, we got Blues. Mutalith Beast is dominating, probably massive value right now. 3,000, just insanely powerful. Definitely should cost 2,300. Like things like the Iro Titan as well as the Rogue Idol should probably be like around like 18, 1900. And then this thing should be 2,300 with how good it is. It's just nuts. So that is probably game blouses. I've casted enough of these games to kind of see the writing on the wall. We'll do a little bit of fast forwarding and see, but it would appear that after, casting 3 or 4 of these attempts from Ghouls at trying to get the blue scribes, he may have finally gotten his goodies. He does have a triple cap right now. Chaos is completely crumbled on the far side. Valkia is not going to be able to get it done. Mutalith Beast is coming. It's easily going to be able to shut down these dual weapon warriors while the Blues shut down these horsemen. And here on objective 3, it looks like Tzeentch is going to find a way to hold on to this one, getting some Blues up to it very quickly, and some Zangors will be able to push off the Forsaken. So GG, well played, man. That was it, the blue scribes. All right, so the Blue Scribes, that Troll Guts was very good. It bought some time. Granted, it didn't end up mattering because Kairos ended up dying. But we saw Traderkin. The Promethean Summon was probably one of the least effective spells. But overall, not bad. Blue Scribes had some fun. They had some applications there. That Troll Guts could have been super clutch if Kairos had just been unsummoned after that. So GG, well played. Fun one. Shout out to Ghouls, one of our top leaderboard players this season, and has been working really hard to get the Blue Scribes. 3,500 here on the Muty Beast, and the Chaos Knights didn't do badly. And for Fate, it was a cool build, very off meta, very Khorne. That was like a Chaos Warband with the mark of Khorne rather than just pure Chaos, undivided. So we had the Firecaster Valkyrie at 23, and yeah, so that is too many marks. So technically, this would have been, because again, the CA forgot to put unit caps on Zangors. You can literally go into a quick battle with Zangors and bring like 30 of them, or how many ever you can afford. So technically, they're supposed to count as marks of Tzeentch in our tournaments. So this would have been a tournament rule break regardless, which is something I haven't had to say in Domination too often, but in this case it would have been. Because these guys use marks of Khorne. Valkia, obviously, I think uses mark of Khorne as well, and then these Zangors are mark of Tzeentch. So you're only supposed to have 4 of those in total, and this would have been 6 or 5. Either way, it would have been a break. So GG, well played. Shout out to Ghouls there, and well played by Fate. Some good burning heads as well. GG, see you guys on the other side. Take care of yourselves.